Hello,
Hi.
I'm
Go ahead.
Nick McCrae alongside Vince
Yoder.
Vince Yoder.
Yes.
Yoder, sorry.
I want to welcome you guys to the 44th annual 2007 Ashland Masters here at King Lanes. Hopefully we'll have an exciting show for you guys today. Got the two bowlers warming up right now.
Ready for our first match here.
Paul Blair Jr. and Rob Sedgwick. Hopefully we'll have some good scores. These are two-game matches. Total pins is going to win after the two games, and the winners will move on after that. Looks like we're hopefully getting ready here to get things going. Yep. They're ready to go. Looks like Rob. No, it looks like Paul's going to lead off. He's on the left lane.
Both these guys were looking good during warm-ups, I have to say, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they have to do here in the actual match.
Paul starts off with a strike.
Nice way to begin your game.
Yep, it's kind of important to set the tone there with the first ball. Always nice to send a little message.
Let's see, if Rob can answer back.
Yep. Delivery, and solid strike. TV pair today is 31 and 32 here at King Lanes. Rob, the best finish before in his Masters is a 4th place finish, I believe. Looks like another good one. A wrap 10. The thing that is important in match play is making spares. It's always a key in any of your matches to try and make some spares, as well as striking.
Oh, the striking's always good.
Yes. Striking's better, but spares are good too.
Let's see if we can pick it up.
Not a problem.
Easy spare, easy move, and now it's Paul's turn again.
Paul Blair, amazingly enough, has won this tournament 6 times. Only other person who's won another strike.
Beautiful.
There's one other person that's won, I think, 3 times, and that's Mitch Manise. There's several guys with 2 wins, but of course Paul stands out with 6, so quite a big accomplishment.
Let's see if this is going to be lucky number 7 for him. So Paul steps up, ready for attempted turkey.
That looks good.
Break out the stuffing. Beautiful turkey.
Very nice. So Paul now has a 20-pin lead in our first game here.
Again.
Ringing 7-pin there. A lot of times in matches, the person who is carrying has the advantage, obviously. And it's very tough to adjust, even though you're hitting the pocket. still leaving some pins. It's hard to adjust. Sometimes you have to. Rob picks up 7-pin, no problem.
In my personal bowling experience, I'm lucky to get 5 pins.
It takes a lot of practice and a lot of years to throw the ball the way these guys do. There we go.
Now he's back in. Let's see if he can. This is Paul steps up again. So would you say Paul's favorite in this tournament?
I would say in this match, Paul is probably the favorite from experience. As far as the whole, the rest of the field on TV today, should be pretty interesting.
Lining up.
Right over third arrow. 10 in the pit. He's also informed that if Paul does happen to win today for his 7th title, he would have won in the last one title at least in the last 4 decades. So it's not a knock on his age, by the way. Although he is getting up there, but he can still throw.
Age equals experience. He knows what he's doing.
Yep, that's right.
Look at that concentration.
Looks good too. Paul seems to be on today.
This is looking like it's going to be a 300.
When you get the first 5, you never know.
He's on a good track. He's got momentum. Let's see if Rob can get back in this.
Another 10-pin.
That 10 and the 7 look like they're going to be giving him some trouble today.
Yeah.
But this is just the first game.
That's exactly right. 2-game matches, a lot can happen.
Strong opening's a strong opening, but I've seen better comebacks.
Yep.
So.
No problem with the 10-pin. Do want to thank some of our sponsors today. East of Chicago, Mr. and Mrs. Reed, Donna D's Pizza and Dorlo Pizza, Bob Pettit.
It was delicious, thank you.
Yes, fed the TV crew and the bowlers, and really turned out. Rob in the 6th frame throws another strike.
Yes.
Right now we got a possible 300 and a possible 249, I believe. That's 249 Rob can strike out for. Very nice.
I like Paul's form when he's running up here. He gets very low.
Yes.
On his backswing before.
It's he's bowled like that for as long as I can remember. Only thing he's probably changed is his arm swing's not quite as high as it used to be.
And that's what time does, but it doesn't seem to be hurting him at all today.
No, I don't think it is. Another good one. A little bit high. Might have got a pinch slow on that. But that was a good run. Let's see if Paul can make the 4-pin. like Paul's willing it to hook there. Got into the oil and didn't want to turn very much, but nevertheless, he's spared in the 7th.
Sometimes the bowler has to rely on the power of the force to get there.
That's exactly right.
Take up it.
And, oh, there's a nice break. 9-pin going down the last. So we got about a 50-pin lead right now, leaning towards Mr. Blair, which seems like quite a bit, but a spare here and there, not striking, and the other person striking, you can make up a big difference pretty quick. Another 7-pin.
I don't know, I think those two really have it out for him today.
Appears to be that way. The bowling gods might be sending a little message right now. And wow. That surprises me. Looked like he got it inside there in the oil and it didn't want to turn over quite as much. So open frame for Rob in the 8th. See if Paul can build on his lead here. The 4-9. 4-9's caused when the ball goes heavy enough into the pocket, it actually goes past the 9-pin, which usually the ball takes out, and heavy enough not to kick the 4 out. As Paul, I'd go for 1 here, but we'll see what happens. Yep, get the sure 1 on that one.
I was hoping to see a little pin action, but
so the lead is 40. Paul has 196 in the 8th, and Rob has 156 in the 8th. 9th frame coming up.
interesting note that Paul is actually wearing a pair of mismatched bowling shoes. Is there special significance to that?
Well, he has always worn at least one tennis shoe on his push-off foot. Gives him more traction in order to get that good push towards the line. With him getting lower to the line, he needs a little bit of momentum going. So he's got one slide shoe and one push-off shoe, and you can see there he slid. Just about slid off of his feet there.
Of all the sports injuries, I have to say bowling injuries probably are the least impressive when trying to share them with your friends.
Yes.
So.
Usually it's more of a laughing matter than a worried about what injury you have. So. Actually, there's a strike by Rob. Interesting enough, Rob wears two tennis shoes. He doesn't wear a slide shoe at all, so he goes up there and plants at the line.
Just a much higher form overall, too.
Being a taller guy with longer arms, he has a much longer swing. In the pit there. Another interesting note is Rob and Eric, our #1 qualifier, both were coached by the same person, Rick Cook, over at Luray Lanes. So they've got very, very similar releases.
Well, then it would be interesting to see him move on simply for the
fact that he might be facing Eric.
yes.
Yeah. See Rob.
Ooh.
Looked like he moved in a little bit. Didn't quite get that ball out to the friction. And it didn't hook for him. Rob makes 2 here. He'll finish up with 202. Unless by some chance he takes it. No. So 202 for Rob. And right now Paul's got 206 in the 9th. Has the match first game in the bag already. Just see how big he can increase his lead.
Yeah. This is all about just getting that little extra boost for the next one.
Yep.
Yes.
Very nice. So it gives Paul a potential 246 if he strikes on the next 2 balls. Number 2 in the 10th. Right now, Paul is leaning towards about a 44-pin lead if he strikes on this one. Deep concentration with his eyes. Looks pretty good.
Nice.
Very nice opening 246 for Paul.
Good way to start a game.
246 to 202. So Paul has a 44-pin lead. Okay. Yes, that's fine.
Yes.
Go ahead and move on to game 2 of this match. As you can see, Rob is going to start this match, which means he will be the last finisher in the 10th for this game. Much better ball than the one in the 10th for him.
No. Paul definitely has an interesting style and form and whatnot, but it does seem to work, so.
Yes, that's one thing about bowling that is different from some of the other sports. It's probably similar to golf. Have your own unique style as long as you repeat. There we had a little mishap there. Had a pin setter stop call, and we could hear that all the way up here. So
Little distractions. Thankfully, he wasn't on the move because that could have hurt him.
see if he recuperated here.
Alright. Didn't phase him. Alright.
First time Paul won this tournament was 1978. It's about almost 30 years ago. Begging for that one to lay off a little bit. Looks like it listened to him, so let's see if Rob can answer Paul's double here in the beginning of the second game.
Another beautiful response.
Now it'll start to get a little interesting. Paul keeps striking, Rob starts losing time when he can actually catch up in this match. But in his case, the only thing he can do is strike just to hope, give himself a chance.
Just got to keep striking and hope Paul has a slip up.
Yep, basically that's a little bit high. Looked a little left off his hand.
That's not the way to do that.
Most of these guys probably either target the arrows or maybe in front of the arrows. Some guys target behind the arrows.
I just aim for the pins and hope for the best.
That also works too. Well, we got the third frame for Paul coming up here.
It's off to another strong start. Let's see if he can continue it here.
That looks pretty good. So that's another turkey. What was the comment you made?
Yes.
Bring out the dressing. Is that what it was? We're close enough to Thanksgiving. It's probably appropriate.
Break out the stuffing.
Break out the stuffing. That's what it was.
Undo your belt.
Fourth frame. Working on 3 strikes. That looked a little inside. And not quite enough.
The 10 is resilient.
Yep. Would have been a nice little messenger, as they call them, if the pin comes across and late and rolls and hits the other pin. So see if Paul can convert. Not a problem. Also, another sponsor we need to thank is Ohio Gas. Joel at Ohio Gas for donating the nice big gas grill that's going to be given away in the drawing. Goes Rob in the 4th frame. Oh no. That's not what you want to see. You're down by 44 pins. Just looks like Rob's got a little bit different reaction.
You can see the frustration.
Starting to build. Frames keep ticking away and splits don't help. So Paul now has a 14-pin lead in this match. Combined, I should say in this game, combined with the 44 in the previous game. So we might need to have some sort of miracle here for Rob to move on.
Well, they've been able to happen.
Leaves another 4-pin.
I really think he's starting to get to the point he gets more and more frustrated and it's hard to concentrate.
Exactly. You lose a little bit of concentration on what you're supposed to do, trying to compensate for the splits and non-carrying and everything else. Makes it a little more difficult to concentrate at one ball at a time. Paul's 5th frame delivery. Doesn't look much different than the rest of them, does it? I'd say he's got pretty good rhythm going right now.
It's a good way to start this finals here. Okay. That was interesting.
Didn't quite get back to the pocket. 9 count's a lot better than what could have been there.
Yeah.
Didn't have a problem converting the 2-pin. Looks like he does now have a 44-pin lead on this game. Rob is running out of time. Hopefully he can throw together about 7 strikes here and just hope for the best.
Looks like he might be doing the math himself down there.
Taking a look at the scoreboard.
Trying to figure out what he needs to do and what Paul needs to do for him to be able to still move on here.
Another good shot. Looks to me like he's actually loosened up a little bit more.
Calm down a little and it's helping his game.
Yep. Could be the lead that Paul has over him. I shouldn't say he's given up, but he's taking the shots. Another good shot by Paul. This crafty veteran here looks like he's in for a long day. At least that's what he hopes. 8th frame here for Paul coming up. Another light 2-pin. Seems like if you get the ball, most of the concentration of oil on the lanes is inside. Probably the middle 20 boards, somewhere around there. And if you get the ball inside just a little bit, obviously the ball hydroplanes on the oil, so it doesn't want to hook as much. It's a result of the ball not hooking. You come in a little bit light and leave a 2-pin. Rob's 8th frame. Another strike. It's a little smirk from Rob there. Seems like, why didn't you carry for me before?
Well, now it's only a 14-pin lead for Paul, so.
This would be the 9th frame, foundation frame. And another one. Another adjustment Rob has made has really worked the last 4 frames.
It really seems like his biggest thing is that he's just relaxed.
Seems to be a little bit different right now. Paul's foundation frame. Oh no. Paul leaves the 4, 6, 7, which is almost impossible to make unless you bounce something out of the pit. This actually gives Rob a lead in this match now.
They're tied going into this last frame, so.
The 44-pin lead from last game is now going to come into effect here. Paul can strike out for 215, and Rob can strike out for 245. So that's 30 pins. Really, if Paul can make this spare and strike, he shoots 205. And the best that Rob can do is 245, so he's still gonna end up winning the match, but he needs to make this spare, and he just missed it. Just missed it. That gives Rob a chance to actually win the match.
I think part of it, Paul might have gotten a little too confident there with his lead, and
it's almost like both players relaxed, and it helped Rob, and it has hurt Paul a little bit. So Paul finishes with 194. So that gives him 440. Rob must strike on this shot. Leaves a solid 9-pin. Didn't look like he liked it off his hand, but
also looked like he was muttering something under his breath that probably wouldn't be good for me to be repeating on television right now. So.
Probably not. So it looks like Paul is going to survive. Move on to the next game. 204, 224 if he strikes.
Well, at least for Rob, he managed to take a game.
Yes, that's exactly right.
He wasn't blown out, and that's part of it.
Yep. Yeah, as I said before, anything can happen, especially in match play. So Rob will finish 233. Paul wins 440 to 435. So
223.
I'm sorry, 223.
425.
425. So 15-pin victory. Paul is going to move on and face actually 2005 champion Tyron McKinney.
Oh.
So we've got several champions on this telecast here.
I'm interested to see what he brings to the game.
Tyron he's a big power player, so it's going to be interesting. Yes, we're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll discuss a little bit more about Tyron and Paul.
Stay tuned.
What's up, everybody? I'm Eddie. And I'm CP. We're from Blessed Union of Souls, and you guys are watching TV2 from our good friends at Ashland U.
Hi, welcome back to the 2007 44th Annual Ashland Masters here at King Lanes. Getting ready for the start of the second match. 2005 Masters champion Tyron McKinney versus the 6-time champion in Paul Blair.
I was watching Tyron during arms. He's got a lot of power in his arm. He's got a little flick up his wrist after he releases.
Very much. Got a lot of power. Paul's getting ready to throw his first ball here. We'll get going with this match.
And there it goes.
And starts off with a strike. Tyron is a very compact, strong, really strong ball release. Like you said, he's got a lot of speed and he's got a lot of turn on the ball. And that throws pins all over the place. So
get some good chain reactions like that.
Very emotional player too. His first strike. Quite a bit louder strike than some of the other ones, isn't it? throw some pins around. The next three guys, actually, all of us have went to nationals together. So we've all bowled together in several of the national tournaments that it's called the ABCs. Now it's called USBC, I should say. We went to Reno last year, going to Albuquerque this year.
Well, that gives you good insight here,
yeah.
So I'm kind of glad to be sitting alongside you. You know what you're talking about.
Well, at least I try to know what I'm talking about. So Tyron starts off with a double. The way Tyron throws his ball, he's can be very intimidating to a lot of the other bowlers. He starts throwing pins around everywhere, and it gets pretty loud, and it kind of speaks for itself.
And you get them shaken up a little bit like that, can be good for you in the long run. So
yes.
Let's see if it's had any effect on Paul.
Just a little inside.
Two very different styles out here.
Paul's more of a finesse player. Clean release off of his hand. Lets the ball do a lot of the work. Obviously, Tyron, like I said, power player. Little distraction there. Steps off and gathers himself again.
Take two.
Hooks over there and makes it. Seems to be a little frustrated with something. Not sure what distraction it is, but
Laughing it off, getting himself back in. Focused again.
Yep.
That's better. That's more into your groove now.
Third frame strike for Paul. Tyron gets up for his third frame. This tournament started with 56 qualifiers that eventually got whittled down after qualifying to the top 32, which then they come back the next Sunday and start bowling match play. It's a double elimination tournament. All the matches are 2-game matches, total pins wins, same thing as it is on here. Looks like we got a little adjustments with the camera here. The last qualifying spot was 12:31.
As another note, you can see we have some spectators back here watching this. So.
I see that. Got some other people back here watching, and right behind us.
Entertained.
Eric Adkins is the top seed, and he will need to be beaten twice by either Paul or Tyron, whoever moves on after this match.
That was a big exhale by Tyron there, getting himself back composed, ready to get up here and do this again. So let's see how he does.
Heavy 4-pin.
He's got a lot of pops on his wrist. He pops his wrist, he props his foot. Very interesting to watch.
Very strong. Tyron was a junior Team USA softball player. Pitcher, he's been to nationals with men's fast pitch. Very, very good underhand fast pitch.
Incorporates some of that into this and some of this into that.
Exactly.
And he's actually changed balls now.
Yes. Went to a ball that goes a lot straighter. Throw straight at it, so you don't have to worry about hooking it or not hooking. Just kind of throw straight at it. Another one of our sponsors we need to thank is Jim and John Lee at Swing Zone Pro Shop 2, 1165 East Main Street, 289 Zone is the phone number.
It's 289-9663.
Thank you.
I can't can't read your handwriting, I'm sorry.
I tried to be. It looks like Tyron's left a split.
So this is still anybody's match?
Yes. We really don't have anybody taking a lead so far. We're only 4 frames into it. So we'll see what happens here. Swing Zone Pro Shop did donate the 4-ball bag that's going to go to the champion today. And also they donated a bowling ball that's going to be raffled off to all the bowlers in this tournament. So
what are the prizes for the tournament?
We've got
on that subject
little list here. We'll get to that as soon as Paul throws his 4th frame.
It's there. Strike. Beautiful.
Looks like Paul has moved to the right and is throwing the ball a little bit harder now to try and compensate for some of that oil. First place in this tournament is $450, and they get the big trophy.
Very nice looking trophy over there.
Get a watch, and they get a bowling bag. As I said, runner-up gets $300.
And a runner-up plaque, so.
Exactly. Okay, and Paul throws a turkey. Got about 14-pin lead for Paul now.
Start to feel it, but 14 pins is nothing, especially when you guys got guys like this who are...
Yep, you can overcome that pretty quick. Interestingly enough.
Wrestling.
Slurring my words there a little bit.
You see, most of mine end up going into that nice little black lane on the side. Almost had some nice pin action there to take out that 10, but just missed it there. So.
Scout going across in front of the pin.
So it's interesting to watch them fly. Gets out Big Blue again and picks it up.
Big Blue knocks down the 10 pin there. I was going to say, interestingly enough, Tyron and Paul are both throwing the Columbia brand bowling ball. And I happen to drill both of those balls that they're throwing, so.
So they can blame it on you then?
They can blame it on me either way, that's exactly right. Tyron in the 6th frame. Didn't quite like that one off his hand, but it strikes.
Interesting as we were talking about earlier with the shoes and now Tyron with his different balls, that's one of the things about bowling that makes it interesting because it's very distinctive. Everyone has their own little quirks, and you can't get that in a lot of the other professional sports because it's all very uniform.
Exactly.
So it's one of the things that makes bowling interesting. So.
It's attacked a lot like golf. You've got hazards.
Ooh.
Ball goes a little bit high there. The hazards are invisible with the lane oil on the lanes, as far as for golf you have water and trees and everything else that you can see.
And then there's miniature golf with a little window. Which makes you wonder why no one's come up with miniature bowling yet. That would be
Well, they do have the Route 66 bowling, which Paul chops the spare.
You can see the frustration in the little clap there. So
obviously the lanes have changed. Where you get the ball out, it wants to hook a lot more, and you get the ball in, it doesn't want to finish at all. So we'll see what kind of adjustments these guys make
for the remainder of this one. Nice little skip on the end there.
Yep. Paul moves pretty fast for an older gentleman, I should say. We like to pick on him about his age because he's so much. A lot of us are a lot younger than him, but he takes it all in stride. So
that's good.
Everybody needs a little humor. We got Tyron here in the 7th frame, working on a strike. Pretty good. Another late 7-pin going down. So Tyron's 8 pins behind right now. If he throws this strike, he'll actually take the lead by 2. Deep breath to calm himself.
Wouldn't it be a 12-point lead because of the strike earlier?
All depends. Several ways you can look at it. As Paul opened in the 6, he has 124. Tyron in the 6 has 125, so actually he's got a 1-pin lead. After he makes a spare, it'll give him another 20. If you look at the overall score right now, Tyron has a
21
pin lead, yes.
But he's also 1 frame ahead, so. He's getting ready. And we're just sitting here silently waiting.
That's a nice shot by Paul.
That's a big yell too. He's getting into it now.
Yes, he is. As I said, Tyron's a very emotional player, and if you can need all the help you can get sometimes, so Paul's getting fired up. Can be very intense on the lanes, but off the lanes everybody's pretty much friends, so might hate each other for a couple days, but usually
yeah. Now he's actually down 1 pin.
There's another strike. And the hand clap.
That was another turkey.
Also need to congratulate, we had 2 300 games in qualifying. Well, one was in qualifying, one was in match play. Jody Boyd had 300 in qualifying, and Scott Zahner had 300 in match play.
Congratulations, guys.
Yes. Maybe we'll be lucky enough to see one on TV today. We'll just have to wait and see. So, let's see. Paul's got an 9-pin lead, I'm sorry. This is Tyron's 10th frame here coming up.
And so it really does come down to this frame.
Yes. Potential 225 for Tyron. There we go.
How close this is, it really looks like it's going to be both games are going to count very much as opposed to...
Yes. Unless you get a huge lead. Second game really is going to, because even though you have a lead, you still put a little pressure on yourself, so. That was obvious in the first match.
Let's see if we can get a nice strike here.
Tyron with a double in the 10th. .17.5 miles an hour strike. So he does throw pretty hard.
Let's see if we can go 3 for 3 here.
A little slow with that one, looked like. So he finishes with 221, I believe. 222.
222.
This will be Paul's 10th frame. He's got a potential 244.
And as we saw last game, those leads are important if he can
capture the lead early. He got that in and it held, and he knows it. Funny thing about bowling, you can catch breaks both ways. Got some of our own commentating here in the background.
Nice to see there are people around here getting into it. Probably helps these guys a little bit to know they got some fans out here.
It tells you how much. There's a good shot. It tells you how much, how important this league or this tournament is. 44 years it's been around. So there's a little bit of prestige involved in this too.
There was a little technical error on the machine there for that last strike. It was only given 4 pins there, but it's been corrected, and now it goes in for 3. Ooh.
243. Yeah. 243 for Paul, because he did not strike on that last. 222 for Tyron, so we've got a 21 pin lead for Mr. Blair.
Getting ready for the next game here.
Game number 2, Tyron's going to start things off for game 2.
That's a nice way to start it.
Yep. Tyron's got a very confident look on his face right now, like he might have found something, so wait and see what comes up with that. The 2 gentlemen that shot 300s get plaques as well for their 300 awards, as well as the high qualifier who was Ricky Hendershot. He also gets a plaque.
And $40.
And $40, that's correct.
Not including his prize.
Not including the rest of his prize. Paul starts off with another strike.
Strike into strike. So it's always a good way to start your game. If you get a split or something right at the beginning, you usually stumble your way through the rest of it because of the frustration. So it's nice for them to open up good.
2 different ways to look at that. Ooh, and he barely knocks out the 2 pin on that one. Ball didn't want to hook at all. He threw that fairly hard. Ironically enough, the best place to have a split, if you're going to have one, is in the first frame. It actually doesn't take away from your score as much as it would if when you're in the middle of a game, but
point-wise, but playing-wise.
Play-wise, you don't want to start out with that, no. This time, Paul makes the 10 pin.
You're being all technical. I was talking spiritual bowling here.
I know.
Jeez, man.
Well, I try. Tyron's up for his 2nd frame. Deep breath. Looks like he's found something. It's a double for Tyron.
Let's see if we'll have a chance to make another bad Thanksgiving pun here.
Third frame, working on a 3rd strike.
Darn, I had a really good one too.
Well, hopefully we'll have another one here sometime. Maybe even in this game. You'll get to use the little puns.
Computers are being really screwy here lately.
Spare for Tyron, having a little computer issue here, scoring issue. Not sure what's going on. But they've got it taken care of, so.
As long as they know what they're doing, that's what really counts out here.
Last time Paul won this tournament was 1993.
Ooh.
So he's had a little drought since his last tournament win. A little bit high. There's actually 3 years in a row where he won. Him and another guy alternated wins. And Paul won in 84, and Mitch won in 85, and Paul won in 86, and Mitch won in 87, and then Paul won in 88. So they alternated back and forth Masters titles.
It would be nice for him to be able to put another W up there for the new millennium.
Yep. I'm sure he's thinking the same thing.
It would be his 7th in 07, so...
That's true. Could be destiny.
Yeah. We'll have to see.
4th frame, working on a spare here. Strike.
4th frame, working on a what? Strike there. Spare last one, he's at 68, and Tyron is 57, but he's only... This is his 4th frame,
yes.
So that's probably going to change.
Nice strike there for Tyron on lane 32.
And now he's actually up by 9 points?
Yep.
9 pins.
Actually can increase it to 19 with a strike here. We'll see what happens.
Real intense concentration there.
See if he gets that ball out a little bit more. Nice little love tap on the 7-pin there.
Like I said, Paul likes to let the ball do the work. It looks like Tyron relies on the pins to take each other out for him.
Yep. Likes to make them fly around, that's for sure.
It's interesting to watch these two very different styles. See how they pull it out. And
different style and almost the same result there. Light 7-pin.
Didn't really move that time though.
All up for the spare. That could be trouble.
Good.
Had enough oil there to keep the ball in the lane.
A little bit of a weary look on his face to us there after he hit that.
Looked a little bit worried on that one. So
this is still definitely anybody's game and anybody's match to take home here.
Yep. Overall match, Paul's got a 12-pin lead actually right now. So his 21-pin lead is slowly dwindling. Oh, it looked like he
frustrated, very frustrated.
hit his ankle. That's going to be sore in the morning.
Of course, kicking the lane probably doesn't help afterwards either.
He used his right foot to kick it, so I think he'll be okay. He needs to regroup here and got to make the spare. Just to keep enough pressure on Tyron.
And he pulls it out.
So Tyron comes up his 6th frame. Also need to thank you guys, WRDL, TV2.
Well,
AU students coming out.
It's nice to be able to help cover these kinds of things.
Looked like a good shot.
Two very animated characters out here with their reactions.
And it looked like he absolutely rushed that. Took no time at all to throw at that 10 pin and totally missed it. So it looks like Tyron now has a 5-pin lead in the overall match. Paul is working on a spare, so that could change a little bit. Both guys are a little bit flustered right now.
Tyron steps up again, and now he's back in it.
You can see the reaction with the ball. If he gets the ball out towards the gutter a little bit more, the ball likes to come back and hit the pins a lot harder. Keeps it inside in the oil, it doesn't quite want to hook.
Scare it back in there.
Yeah. So it'll be Paul's 7th frame. We got that way inside. Leaves the 3-pin standing.
Keeps hitting the way.
Little bit of frustration.
I know the feeling.
A little bit of frustration there. Worst thing to do is get frustrated and miss the spare, though. You have to still have enough composure to
do what he just did, so.
Yes, exactly. So let's see. Paul sits with 360 for his 2-game total right now, and Tyron is 356, so this has turned out to be just as close as the first match. Very exciting. A little distraction.
Really got to get his composure, focusing. See the beat pins, be the pins, destroy the pins.
It might get there, and it does.
Yes. Alright, he's
strike in the 8th frame for Paul. Tyron comes up now, working on the strike. Going into the 8th frame. See if he can answer.
Tyron's got a good chance of pulling this one out, though. They both had those little hiccups, but he seemed to.
Tyron, we both strike out. Tyron's got the upper hand right now.
He can take this one if he can make this one. And he does.
Left some shrapnel up there on the pin deck flying around, I think, so. Let's see here. Paul's got 137 in the 8th. Tyron is 154 in the 8th right now. Remember, Paul does have a 21-pin lead from the first game. There's the strike. Now it's going to get interesting. So we have a potential 244 potential for Tyron and 217 potential for Paul. And that would give him, Tyron, enough pins to overcome the 21-pin deficit from the first game. Ninth frame. 4-pin.
It's really looking like Tyron's going to be moving on in this one, but you never know what could happen. I mean,
that's right. Make your spare and
just hope for the best.
Throw your strikes in the 10th. See what happens. See, Paul can strike out for 197. And he needs to do that just to put enough pressure on Tyron to make him do something in the 10th frames. There's one. See if Paul can capitalize on a double here. Another good shot. So there's still a chance, outside chance. He's going to need a little help from his opponent.
Get by with a little help from your friends.
If he throws this one, he will make, gonna force Tyron to at least mark either spare or strike in the first frame or the 10th frame. Paul finishes with 196. So it gives him 439.
1 point short of last game.
First, yep, first match, yep. So Tyron needs to mark.
See if we can put it 1 or 2 lines up there. And he does.
Basically all he needed. Just needs a little bit of count here. A couple pins and that'll pretty much seal the deal.
I'm going to say this game is over, but it was a good run for Paul Blair Jr.
Yes, it was.
Unless something really freak happens right now. Oh, another strike.
Tyron strikes here, they finish 244. Which gives him enough to move on, obviously. Face Eric Adkins.
At this point, it's just to try to build up momentum for his next game.
Exactly. Probably take a quick break here for the next match. Let them get warmed up. Probably be back here in a little bit.
Yeah.
Start the next match.
All right. Well, that was pretty good stuff, though. Gotta say that.
Pretty good stuff, yes. The 466 to 439 was the final score.
Excellent.
Yes.
Power beat technique, and let's see what happens here in our final round.
We'll be right back.